Let's all scream. Let's all scream. Scream, let's all scream.
Hi everyone and welcome to Let's All Scream. I'm Hassan Al Marashi
I'm Shehlaa Ali.
And I'm Saleh Al Braik.
and welcome to the third episode. Thank you so much for listening. So today we are actually going to record multiple podcasts, probably two, because we are trying to practice social distancing. So we don't want Saleh to have to come over every time we have to record a podcast. So that's just an FYI. So next week's episode we are actually recording today and the week after that.
Yeah, basically.
I think Shehlaa came up with it a few days ago, and it made sense just because situation keeps changing every day, and I think
and it's
just
unpredictable.
exactly, and just to be proactive and to try to get more out there and to stick with the consistency, because the thing that we would hate to do is not to be consistent.
Yeah, especially since we
Yeah.
just started our podcast.
Exactly.
But we hope you guys are being mindful of it as well, and it's
And staying
affecting
safe.
Yeah, and it's affecting everyone. So practice social distancing as much as you can and stay safe and stay indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, well, first of all, I wanted to see how you guys are doing. How are you coping with everything and staying at home? Like for me, I know I'm a homebody, so I love staying at home. But
Yeah.
even for me, I'm going a little stir
Stir
crazy.
crazy.
And like I never thought I'd say this, but I miss shopping malls. I miss crowds. But of course, I understand why we have to stay home. And the importance of it, like especially for me, with us, we have a baby at home and my father who's in his
Yeah.
80s, mashallah. So it's I can understand that, but even I'm like running out of things to do.
I'm actually the same. I'm also going a bit stir crazy. Although I usually do like staying at home and chilling, but recently I usually like to go out and get a change of scenery.
Yeah.
I still don't like crowds. Like every time I think about crowds, I'm like, no, I'm good staying at home. But I've always had this issue of being in crowds and being in crowded areas. So I think that for me, for the most part, is I'm still good.
Yeah.
But I just miss going to a restaurant or going to a cafe. Just yesterday, I was thinking about Texas to Brazil.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, I would really love to go there.
Texas to Brazil is a restaurant here in Dubai, and basically it's kind of our go-to. It's, if I'm not mistaken, Brazilian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I forgot I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, but it's churrascaria, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
which is-
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Which is basically, you get these like cards on your table, and there's a green side and a red side, and so the waiters will the servers will bring these massive skewers of meat or chicken or seafood, and they'll
have-
and yeah, if your card is flipped on the green side, it means keep them coming. If you flip it on the red side, it's like I've had enough.
And it's basically one of our go-to places
Yeah.
as a trio that we like to go and dine in.
Yeah.
So I think that's
And
what she's
especially-
missing right
Especially
now.
during pregnancy, I remember I used to love it.
Yeah.
And now that I can't go to it, I'm
It's one
like,
of the things you're missing the most.
yeah, I really remember it.
I think it's like one of those things where it's you know how when it's like with fasting, because you're not supposed to eat
Yeah.
and all you
Yeah.
can think about is
Is
eating.
food.
So now we're not supposed to
I
go
have
out
no
or being told
idea
not
what
to
we're
go
gonna
out.
do with Ramadan coming.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna, first of all we're doing is staying at home and
Yeah.
eating right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe this is wishful thinking, but I'm hoping at least here it blows over by
Inshallah.
then.
Inshallah, that's really, yeah.
I think
hope so.
for my thoughts are always with the people that are away from their loved ones and their
Yeah.
families. So that's
Yeah.
just to keep you guys in the loop. So for me personally, I moved in with my aunt, and my aunt,
because your family's
because my family is out of the
right?
country,
Yeah.
and they're at the moment can't, because of all the restrictions and flights, they're not able to get back. Inshallah they will soon. So I'm away from my own family unit. So I moved in with my aunt, and my aunt thankfully lives in a compound where all my cousins and her kids basically live in their own houses. So they all have these like intertwining doors that
Yeah.
allow them to move from house to house. So I don't know what I would have done without them, because I have my cousins around me, I have my aunt and her
Yeah.
husband around me, my uncle. So having them there makes me feel less alone, but my thoughts are always with those that are alone. And I think hopefully by listening to this, you feel a little less alone if you're out
Yeah.
there. We're all with you. We're all feeling it. It doesn't matter, but I think about the number of people you have around you. But just to hear a friendly voice and saying that we're with you and you're not alone, I think goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but I actually talked about this subject with my friend this morning, just about with everyone talking about, oh, I'm going crazy and
Yeah.
and
I'm
about,
bored and-
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I was thinking, I had also a trip. So for those who don't know, I also had a trip to go to see my family around 3 weeks ago, and I canceled it because of everything that's happening, and I'm just thinking, yeah, like, okay, I'm not near my family, my parents, my siblings, but I also at the same time have my husband. For
Yeah.
those who who are literally alone,
Yeah.
don't have family or cousins or relatives or anyone, I also think about those people. So like for everyone who's like, oh, we're going crazy, I'm like, okay, but you have people around you. Like, be
Also,
thankful.
let's not forget, and alhamdulillah, thank God we have roofs over our heads. We
Yeah.
have, food in our fridge.
Yeah.
It's just, a time where there's a lot of people going through difficulties. So I think coming up or complaining about being stuck at home is
Yeah.
a bit insensitive, but in a lighter manner,
Yeah.
it makes us more creative about what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of all my friends are always like, oh, I just came up with doing this today, and like different activities for the kids, especially because I feel like those are
Yeah.
really, I don't know, like if my baby was a bit older
Yeah,
and
and
needed to go
yeah.
out, I think I'd also
Oh,
be
all
in
the
that
moms out there.
Yeah.
I
My
pray
heart
for
goes-
you. I pray for
Yeah.
you so hard right now.
Yeah, but no, I think on a lighter note, I just hope everyone is safe. Even if you're finding a bit of difficulty, and if you're having to like mentally relieve yourself and like to go and take a break, do that. I know everyone's saying mental health right now is very important. So again, yeah, just
Keep
feel
that in mind.
Yeah,
and
keep that.
I think keep in mind that this will pass, just like everything else. Life moves on, and hopefully we'll all get through this stronger and better and more connected.
Yeah.
So to kind of kick off the podcast today, I wanted to talk about something that I faced or I'm asked on a daily basis, and I actually went through a couple of times. I still go through, I
Okay.
believe. And I think we all go through that. And it's where you find your confidence to kind of push through goals and tasks and aims that you have for yourself. And what do you do once you get into stages of failure? And the
Right.
reason why I say stages is because it's multiple and it can happen
Yeah.
before you succeed 100 times, before that one time that you succeed, or it could even happen after you succeed. By the way, there's
Yeah.
no winning formula. So I think I just wanted to put it out there about where do you get that confidence and how do you get that confidence and what can you do? Because personally, as you guys know, being a business owner but also working full time, it's not easy to basically focus and build your businesses up as a single unit. And my way of getting confidence to answer the question first and foremost is I always believe with having a support system and specifically a team. If you look at every business venture that I've gone into, I always have a partner, whether it's my brother or it's my best friend
Yeah.
or it's a family member or someone that we trust as a family friend. And I just feel that I always go against the fact of, having a business with a family member or a friend can be disastrous.
Yeah.
No, if you have a good, strong foundation, it can build empires. And we've seen that with some of the biggest brands in the entire world. So for me, my answer to where do you find confidence moving ahead and to keep going is always find that one support, even if it's just one, that one support a person or
Yeah.
system that can push you through it. Even if, say for example, you want to do something on your own, that's completely fine. I'm not saying that you have to have a team partner with you, but you have to have your own cheerleader. That's
Yeah,
one
someone
of the
to
main
like
things.
lift you up and
Yeah.
encourage you when you're doubting yourself.
Yeah, and rejection, by the way, or failure comes in so many shapes and sizes. I've been told so many times that my ideas were
Not gonna work, or
not gonna work, or they were telling me about how it was too far-fetched, or how there wasn't a support system when it comes to the infrastructure here to support that type of an idea, or even in the sense that, you know, financially, like how do you
Yeah.
support yourselves? I have no finances, I have no resources. The thing is, you kind of have to do that on your own. You can't, if you're gonna keep on giving yourself these limitations, you're not gonna grow. You're gonna have to work around it.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, so I don't own a business, but I think I mentioned on the first podcast, I'm an author of a children's book. And for me, writing stories and writing books is something that requires confidence in yourself. And I wouldn't say I'm an overly confident person, but I know that I have good ideas when it comes to writing, but it's putting pen to paper, or rather finger to keyboard, and getting it done. And I've noticed that when I start writing a story, there will come like these voices in my head, like, oh, but are people really going to want to read this? Or like, is that a good storyline? Is that a good plot? Are people going to relate to this character? Or, you know what I mean? So there are these blockers that come up, and it's sometimes it's very challenging to shut it off. And I
Yeah.
find myself, first of all, getting writer's block a lot, but also stopping. And I have so many unfinished projects, unfinished stories and
Stories?
books that I've done, just because either I don't know where to take it, or because I've had so much self-doubt about them
Yeah.
that it kind of it makes you procrastinate.
Yeah. And you had no previous experience before, right? Like when you started off, I mean, you don't have anyone personally around you that is an author.
No, not at
in
all.
your household. So it's
So the way it started, my first children's book, and my only children's book that's published, is called Camille's Little Secret, for those who are interested. And I had initially I wrote it when I was 15 years old. And then it was for like an English class project or something. I can't remember. And I just never really did anything with it. And then when I turned 25, my friend Iman bin Sheba, shout out to Iman if you're listening.
She is
and
a
for
listener.
Those, who know her, started a publishing company. And so my sister Sarah came up to me and was like, Hassan, this is an opportunity. You know, someone you know has started a publishing company. Why not pitch your book? So I did, and thankfully, thanks to Iman, she has published my book and also introduced me to a print publisher, because at the time they were doing, I think, exclusively digital ebooks. And then, I want to say a year or two later, the book is out there.
Yeah.
And it was such like a surreal thing, because it was something that I had always dreamt of but never thought would happen.
Yeah.
And it just shows you that all you need is someone to tell you, you know what, go for it, and you know, you get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, actually, a lot of times I would come up with an idea, actually, and Hassan, you guys will actually be honest and sometimes say, okay, no, that's not that great of an idea. But then a lot of the times I have come up with different ideas, and you're like, you know what, you can do it. And I don't know if it's
I think-
actually...
Sorry to cut you off, but I think what's good about the conversations that we have when you get your ideas
Yeah.
is sometimes you'll say like, but I don't know how that would work, or
Yeah,
like,
or
and
to
then
envision it.
Saleh is really good at this, actually. You'll build on it,
Yeah.
and whatever,
and show me like
yeah,
a path as to where it can go.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
and give you different scenarios of how this can move forward.
Yeah.
Sorry, you want to go ahead with your ideas?
Yeah, no, it was just saying that that's the thing, is sometimes you just need that little voice, even if you don't have it yourself.
Yeah.
You just need that little voice that says, hey, you know what, you can just take the
Yeah.
first step and do this. And And sometimes it's hard, like you said, you feel like you have writer's block.
Yeah.
But sometimes all you need is like just to take that one step.
Yeah.
And then once you've taken that step, it just
It
goes
flows.
on. Yeah.
And the one thing is failure. Failure is not easy. I understand it completely. I deal with it on a daily basis, believe it or not. Like, just to give you guys some real time insight, obviously the entire industry is shut down, and as we practice social distancing, I had to accommodate all of my entities that are either in F&B or health and fitness, and we had
Just spell out FNB for those.
Oh, sorry, food and beverage. So, so you know, the cafes that I own, or the restaurant, or even the gyms that I own, we all had to shut down, and we had to adapt. Basically, like for the cafes and restaurant, we had to do delivery only, and for the gyms, we just had to shut down completely.
Yeah.
So we had to adapt to that. So what happens when, I wouldn't call that a failure, but definitely a major setback for the industry.
Yeah.
So what happened? I obviously, thankfully, I have, like I said, team partners or support system that when we were hit with this kind of news, we bounced ideas and came up with solutions.
Yeah.
So for the restaurants and the cafes, for sure, you know, be hygienic, take all the practices that the government is saying, but we pushed our artwork out that's delivery only, and we actually came up with new products that we can do that's easier for the end user. For the gyms, we completely went digital. We've released daily workouts online that are
Which
up
is
on our
actually
Instagram.
a very smart and
Exactly. And
clever.
without I think, if I just sat with that failure or that type of the world kind of rejecting you and being like, dope, you can't do business anymore, and if I just sat there and just, you know, lulled about it, I would have never come up with this. But so thankfully the team helped out. So always when you're feeling it's hard to kind of toot your own horn or to get that confidence from yourself, I always think that calling someone, getting support from an outside, some external factor. If you're not in the business with someone, you know, if you don't have a team partner, then get your support from someone else, and it'll go a long way.
I
it'll
think
fight that or light that fire again under
yeah,
you.
and just like you get a second opinion from a doctor, I think it's good to get a second opinion from a professional in the industry that you're looking to get into.
Yeah. I think when you saw that, we just said, light the fire that's within you. That actually brought up what's been going on in my mind the past couple of days, where I've just basically, so after I gave birth, I really distanced myself away from the things I used to enjoy. I've distanced myself from things. For example, I still cook, but like it's an everyday kind of just
Cooking out of necessity.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
the meals. But I usually like to actually bake or like to try new recipes, and I haven't really done that until really recently. And then when you guys were talking about that confidence and to have that voice in your head, you guys were like, I think one time you were like, oh, I'm craving, I don't remember what it was one of the dishes, and I'm like, you know what, I haven't made that and I want to try and make it. And I remember that was the first step to take that. And after I took that step, now I'm like, oh wait, I forgot how much I've missed it until I did that. And then I also enjoy, you guys know, gardening.
Yeah.
And so I really stopped gardening and like didn't even go to the garden. Like I go out, just walk around, but I wouldn't sit there and plant things. And with the summer coming up, I've been thinking about actually going back into planning as to what I can plant once the summer is over. So those are actually, that's how I've been thinking about getting back into things.
I was one of your very loyal tasters, not testers, tasters.
Still are.
I still am. And I noticed, obviously, mashallah, the journey you've gone through motherhood, and I've seen how, at the very start, props to you, and I'm just gonna give it here. You know,
Thanks.
you are a single unit here. You have Hassan, obviously. Hassan works though during the day, helps out when he can, but you are on your own here, whereas most people, I guess, in Arab culture have an entire village. So you've done it on your own, so I don't blame you for taking that downtime, but it's good to see that you're getting back at it. Was it the fact that it was staying at home more that lit that kind of light bulb in your head, or was it before this that you were like, I want to get back into my
No.
daily life?
Actually, what I don't know if it was a direct link to staying at home, but while I'm at home and unable to basically distract myself and go out, and because that's usually was my go-to, is whenever I feel overwhelmed, I just take the baby and go out. I literally just spend the entire day just walking around in the mall, or meet up with a friend for a coffee, or go to a friend's house.
Yeah.
But now that I can't do that, I think just staying at home has made me think, okay, wait, I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I used to listen to or read books as well. But actually, ever since I've given birth, I haven't even opened a book, I think. So, which is bad.
Baby steps.
yeah.
No pun intended.
But also, I think what's triggered you getting into this is it's a way for you to deal with your anxiety.
Yeah.
And I've noticed you've become a lot calmer since a couple of weeks ago when everything was going on.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're busying yourself with things that you used to do that you love.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so things that I really have started to go back into is listening to books / reading and cooking.
Yeah.
And I'm also starting to think, okay, I want to start making a plan for the summer, and to get back into that, because my connection with planting was, I used to love, this may sound weird, but I used to actually love to get my hands dirty and to get my hands into dirt.
Yeah.
And I used to feel like it really grounded me.
It's like I feel like you're talking to Gardeners Anonymous.
Yeah. And so I definitely miss that. And I remember even before I got pregnant, I remember trying to actually get as grounded as possible and try to, because I do deal with anxiety. It did get heightened while I was pregnant, and then it went to extreme, not extreme, but like very high measures after I gave birth.
Yeah.
And so now I want to go back to that pre-pregnancy me, where I was I don't remember if you guys remember this, but like I used to I planted like so many things. A lot of them failed, by the way, guys. Don't think I had like an entire garden back there. A lot of things failed, but it was me trying, and that effort to try to do something.
Yeah.
I miss that. So I really want to push myself to do that, especially now that I'm forced to stay at home.
Yeah.
And I can't just block out the anxiety. So, sorry, going back to what Hassan was saying, I can't block out the anxiety right now.
Yeah.
So, because I can't do that, I think that's what's making me face it and trying to deal with,
coping
pushing
mechanisms. Yeah.
I think one thing that I can relate to this, and that a lot of people can relate to, is we all go through stages of our lives that we lose touch of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so it's like a rut, whether it's anxiety driven, whether it's going through something as beautiful as, bringing life into this world. Personally, for example, towards the end of last year, it was this place of self where I basically, I'm a person that I used to love, or I still do, and I still am right now, going to the gym every day. I go out and visit people, whether it's meeting up with friends in, coffee shops, whether it's going to family gatherings and stuff like that. I'm a very outgoing person. But I think last year what happened was, towards the end of the year, I had gone through a few things that forced me to kind of take a huge step back. And if you guys remember, I was not leaving the house.
Yeah.
I was only going to work and back. I was spending crazy hours at work. I was not going to the gym at all, God forbid. And so I lost tune of who I was.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's not even, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything. It doesn't have to be a pep talk. It doesn't have to be like something as big as staying at home right now. It's something that's just like a switch inside of you that says, oh, you know what? I think I can maybe go back to the gym. Maybe twice this week. Maybe take these like baby steps to find out.
It has to come from within. You have to, like, no one can. I mean, people can tell you 100 times, do this, but until it comes from within, that's the only time where it's gonna make a difference.
And because so with cutting out social media, also I haven't been. I am still on my phone,
Yeah.
but like it's either playing a game or reading or something.
Yeah.
But I've actually found the past 2 days I actually can just shut off my phone
Yeah.
and put it away to the side and actually just sit with my thoughts, which is something I haven't been doing for a long time. And like Hassan last night was like, he'd keep coming to me and being like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just sitting here."
Yeah.
And he's
No,
like,
no. Okay, let's put that into context. I was watching a show, and she was just sitting there next to me, like not staring at me, but essentially
just-
like
just
staring,
staring
into the distance. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like, what? Do you want to get your laptop? Do you want to watch something? Like, what's
like, "No,
happening?
I'm
It's
okay,
like,
I'm
no,
good."
I'm okay. I'm like, are you okay? Like, what's what?
She found complete zen.
and
It
yeah,
was very unsettling.
but it's actually just me sitting with my thoughts. Like I was just thinking, okay, tomorrow I would like to do this, or then I was thinking about going back even into yoga and to think, because that's something also
Yeah.
that I used to practice. But I'm like, do I want to go back into that, or do I just do the basics right now?
Yeah.
And I've just started going back into the gym also,
Yeah.
but well, not gym, but just working out from home.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so it was just me, I'm like, okay, you know what, my phone, I had it open on baby camera, and so I just left it to the side, and I didn't even bother opening another app, or I didn't bother opening my laptop and watching something else. And I'm just like, I don't mind this. So I actually enjoyed that. And that might be, I'm sorry if it might creep you out, Hassan, but it actually might be something I might do more often.
Oh my God, I can imagine you like walking into her in different rooms and her just like staring into the abyss, just wondering about life.
Just staring into the distance,
Yeah.
thinking of life and where we all are.
Have you gone, Hassan, yourself? Like, have you gone into anything similar in the past few weeks of staying at home, realizing some things that you want to do, or?
So first of all, I realized I have not stopped eating, and I've spoken to a few people. I think everyone's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
We literally finished our quote unquote stockpile snacks in the first few days, and these were supposed to last us like 2 weeks.
By
at
the
least.
way, everyone says that. Everyone says they bought a stockpile of snacks
And
and
they
they finished it within the first 2 days.
Actually, you know what? I was thinking that right after we finished recording, that I wanted to go and get a bit of a stockpile, but I think everyone is going to be in the supermarket.
Yeah, I would
increasing their supply.
Yeah, I would use a delivery app if anything.
True.
Or I'm actually refreshed the stockpile unintentionally yesterday, so we can give you some.
I blame your sister, because we were actually doing good. I was like, I'm not going to buy any more unhealthy snacks. We don't need it. We're just sitting at home. It's just because we're bored. And then
She was like,
she's
I'm
like,
craving Reese's peanut butter cups, and we're like, oh, here we go.
and so of course you can't just order one Reese's. You have to order so many other things.
And then we ended up ordering chips and chocolate and gummy bears. And
Oh my
yeah.
God.
so many
So
things we
let's
don't
just
need.
say by the end of this, I'm going to be rolling out into the world.
We need to come up with plan B, guys.
I'm telling you, see, look, what I've been doing is thankfully, we have a treadmill at my aunt's house. So I've been actually, doing a few runs. But
Have
if
you
don't-
seen those videos on Instagram of people putting soap on the floor and using it as a kind of treadmill? So you know
That
how you're
sounds really dangerous.
it's
What? I haven't-
extremely dangerous, but basically they squirt like dish soap and some water on the floor, on the tile floor, and you know how your foot will
Yeah.
slip, so they're like purposefully like walking on it, and it becomes like a treadmill kind of. Don't try this at home.
Please.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, but it's so creative.
No, it's not.
As dangerous as
There's
it
another
is.
word that's coming to my mind.
I think so. If you don't have one, it's so funny. By the way,
Don't have-
everyone.
a
If
treadmill.
you don't have a
You
treadmill,
can just
sorry,
open a video.
then just open a video, because by the way, the entire world
Yeah.
is stuck at home.
Yeah.
So you'll be surprised by how many home like remedies or do-it-yourself videos.
No,
or
there's a YouTube channel called Fitness Blender.
Yeah.
That I was introduced by our cousin, and I love it because it literally is a couple.
Yeah.
and one of them will do like an intense, the intense version, and the other one will do a much simpler, the same workout, but then an easier version of it. So, and I love it because it's so easy, and they have so many different ideas and so many different varieties of workouts.
Yeah.
And they even have like day 1, day 2, like a week worth of workouts. So it's actually really smart.
So Hassan, see, you won't roll out, but you might have to be pushed out.
But no, other than that, actually for my birthday, I bought myself ducklings.
Oh, yeah, guys.
And yeah, people are gonna think I'm super weird, but which I am. But but no. So how this started? This actually started with you, Saleh.
It's all your fault.
us.
Oh my God, why? What did I do?
You told us that your friends bought their mutual friend a horse for her birthday.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, what? I want a horse. I've always wanted a horse.
And
so I was like, Saleh, the pressure is on. For my next birthday, you guys have to get me a horse.
And this was right before your birthday.
Yeah. But then, so the horse downgraded to a goat or a sheep. A goat or a lamb.
And of course, I was excited. And so...
Yeah, you were very happy at that prospect.
Very.
So then I started researching because, I've always had pets growing up, but when you're younger, you don't research how to take care of pets. You're just like, oh, I want this pet, so I'm gonna tell my parents to get it for me, and then you don't research how to take care of it. But as I've gotten older, I take very seriously getting animals.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of research into getting a goat or a lamb, and I was like, no, this is too much work. So then we went down into ducklings, and the reason I wanted ducklings is because we have chickens in our backyard. But we have one duck.
You guys are going to think this story is very weird.
Yeah, but it's literally one duck. I don't know how he got there, but literally once...
Wait, you don't know how he got there?
No, literally, I don't know how he got there. So I know in the sense that I went to... I asked our gardener, where did this duck come from? And he's like, oh, my friends gave it to me 2 months ago. So I don't know where he came from.
I think he was so tiny that we didn't recognize or notice him with the rest of the chickens because they're all in a pen.
Yeah.
And then until he actually got bigger.
Yeah, and he's white, and we had quite a few white white hens, so it kind of blended in with them. So anyways, so I was like, okay, let's get ducklings so he has some friends because it's been a while that he's just on his own.
Yeah.
So yes, so I got ducklings for my birthday, and it was the best investment because now when I'm bored, I go and play with the ducklings and feed them and stuff.
And just so that you guys know, the initial duck that was with the hens does not associate.
Oh
with
yeah,
the new
and
ducks.
it totally backfired because now there's like two groups. Or two gangs. There's like the chickens plus a duck who thinks he's a chicken, and the new ducklings that are now full grown ducks.
My God.
And they will walk in two separate groups. They won't walk together.
They won't interact. They won't.
And so I literally think that the old duck thinks that he is a chicken.
And going back to what you said, and for everyone's knowledge, we did not end up buying him any animal. Me and
yeah,
Shehlaa,
I ended up buying the ducklings for myself.
We completely ignored him.
I mean, hey, I gave him other birthday presents, so I'm not that horrible of a person.
Saleh did not, so I'm still waiting on my...
It's okay, it's due to Corona.
But yeah, that's something that has kept me busy. But I think let's wrap this up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes.
Yeah, and let us know what else you guys want to hear about, and what else you guys want to talk, or if you have any questions.
And you can, if you do have any questions or you want to engage with us, you can contact us on our email, which is letsallscream.podcast@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram at Let's All Scream. We also have a Facebook page as well. And so you can DM us, email us, give us a comment on our posts, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you
Bye.
guys.
See
Bye.
you soon.